What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports Hardwood show for some Wednesday night NBA action. We have games dropping off the slate. We have players dropping off the slate. We have players getting traded in a blockbuster fashion. But we still have our slate, and we're going to break it down, as always, joined by my boys, Titletown and Mr. Big T himself, the most dangerous man in the industry. We will start with Title first. Just your overall thoughts on this slate and all the news that broke in the NBA today. Blockbuster trade should be exciting for DFS moving forward and specifically tonight.
Yeah, I mean, what a crazy amount of news we just got before hopping on. Harden, the big news after everything. I mean, he wasn't coming back to the Rockets. They dumped him early. So now he's on the Nets. LeVert gone. Jared Allen gone. Nets are on the slate today. So only have 9 bodies that they're rolling with. Not even sure Reggie Perry's going to get minutes, so it could only be 8 guys. Brings the Nets right back in play for what we've seen with the Heat yesterday, the Phillies the day before. So the Nets are the next team on that list. Really cool seeing LeVert go to the Pacers. They got really good. The East got a lot better for sure. The Nets, the Pacers, the Bucks. It's going to be a lot of fun. So it affects DFS a lot. I'm excited for the new faces and new uniforms. And then tonight's slate, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm excited to break it down.
Yeah, I mean, we got Zion out. We got the Nets news. We have the hammer game of the night has basically a 240 total and relatively close spread. I mean, this is as good as it gets for NBA DFS. Like, this is why you play the sport. I mean, it's so fun, so exciting. I'm gonna go to Big T in a minute here, but make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the subscribe. We will give some gear away as well. After about a game or two, we'll pick a number, and if we get there, we'll pick someone to win some gear and send Tony out the door to FedEx. But Tony, overall take on this slate, and the big blockbuster trade as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is what the NBA is. I'm glad they freaking traded Harden too, because it was getting old where they kept being on the slate. He wasn't in play. He was whining yesterday. I figured today when they didn't let him come to practice or whatever that he was definitely going to get traded in the next few days. So I'm glad it happened quick, easy, not like at the last second before a slate or after lock where somehow it would screw us or one way or another. But, yeah, I mean, it should be some excitement. I don't think the Nets are as dominant as people think they're going to be with getting him. I haven't had time to process it, so maybe I'm wrong, but everybody needs the ball. Kyrie might be freaking retired. KD needs the ball. Harden needs the ball. I don't know. Like, I might even take Title's boy Giannis's squad over this team. I don't know. I don't think they fit together. DeAndre Jordan all of a sudden is going to have to play a bunch of minutes. Jared Allen and LeVert were good freaking players. I'm not saying they're as good as Harden, but I think they fit the build more than Harden maybe did. So I don't know. I got to let it process. I think Indiana definitely gets better, getting rid of Oladipo, getting LeVert. I think even Cleveland, I know people are making fun of Cleveland. They traded for another center, but they didn't give anything up to get him. Like, you just got Jared Allen for free, basically, it looked like. Again, I haven't fully dove into it, but if they got Jared Allen for free, like they got Drummond for free, I mean, whatever. You add a player for free. I mean, he's better than a draft pick. Maybe they trade someone else and he gets more. Maybe they trade Drummond somewhere. I don't know. Either way, they didn't give up shit to get him. So if you're just going to give me Jared Allen, yeah, he doesn't fit on the team, but he's still Jared Allen for free. So I'll take that. Houston is just a disaster. So, I mean, they are what they are. Give them a bunch of draft picks, reset the team.
Yeah.
I think it's a good trade all the way around, though, really. Like, as far as what we care about, DFS, gambling, I mean, it kind of makes all the pieces fit for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously Houston had to. I mean, it wasn't going to work out, and it's sad though. I mean, Harden, he signed the big deal to stay in Houston, and I mean, to me, it's like, okay, yeah, things aren't great right now. You bite your tongue, you bust your ass, and you improve the situation. Just to come out and essentially quit on the team, I think it's pretty disappointing. I mean, he's the one that signed the big contract to stay in Houston, and to do that to those guys. I mean, guys that are coming back, like I feel bad for guys like John Wall and even DeMarcus Cousins, like trying to, find their second wind here in the NBA, and to have the star of the team kind of just give up on them it's disappointing to see. But
I want to see Boogie fight him too. Boogie came out blasting him. I want to see him in the ring in the octagon with him.
That'll be fun when those two teams eventually square off. But I agree with you, man. Like obviously the Nets, a great team. I mean, there's no denying it, but they all kind of do the same thing, those guys, and they need the ball. And I don't know. I mean, maybe they did it because they don't know what's going to, the future holds with Kyrie and how that situation's going to go. I don't know. But,
I definitely like it more if Kyrie doesn't come back, put it that way. Like, I think
but then it's like they get the same type of player and they had to give up everything to, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
He legit might not come back too. He's out there right now.
Yeah. So, you guys hit the subscribe button. Before we do, hop into the game, just want to cover a little situation that occurred last night where somebody that is a viewer of the show, he's in the chat quite a bit. This guy, Bobby, that was a tout in the industry for a while, decided to go on a little tirade, I guess you could say, last night at like 5 a.m. It was incoherent, rambling. I think he ended up like deleting a couple of them, but it was a shot at me and Big T, essentially. And I don't think it was really warranted all that much. Tony and I are guys in the industry that, we've been around for a while. And, the thing that we love doing the most, I think, at least for me, I do, and I think you do too, is coming on these shows, shooting the shit with the people, interacting with the chat, having fun, bringing on people like Titletown so we can make fun of them, bring on Mangone and poke at Mangone for his Chris Hogan takes. And, that's what we're all about. And this dude went on a tirade. There was some comparisons to Hitler. He was associating me with Hitler, saying that you tried to hurt my career and livelihood to help Hitler. That is an incoherent rant. Doesn't make too much sense. The blood is coming on your hands too. Effing pathetic. This is a guy, like I said, he was in the chat like a week ago, making comments, interacting with us, interacting with the RPS members here in the chat. Then he goes on to, he basically said that we canceled him. He was a failed tout at the previous company that Tony and I work for, failed DFS player, I'm assuming as well. And he went on to call Tony the most dangerous, or he just called him dangerous. He said he's dangerous and it's gross that people would follow him. And I just don't really think those are accurate descriptions of Big T and myself. We're guys of the people. We love interacting with our YouTube family here. New members in the industry. It's just what we're all about. These accusations, I think, were false and really sad to see. And, he doesn't seem all that well. So hopefully if you do know him, try to get him some help. He clearly needs it. This 5 a.m. Twitter rant was very bizarre. And it's just kind of like human nature with people. It seems like a lot of people kind of fall into this situation where, okay, his career went down the tank. So what does he have to do? He's got to blame somebody else. He can't blame himself. It was nothing he did. Someone else, assisted in getting him out. Not doing well at DFS, I'm assuming. Well, you know what? It's not his fault. It's someone else's fault. And you see a lot of that stuff. Sad, disappointing. Tony, I mean, you don't need to make any comments. You can if you want. If not, we can move on.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm definitely dangerous on the workbench, like I said.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna claim someone's dangerous, I mean, we're talking. I mean, and it's workbench activity, not in general life stuff.
I mean, and so I talk trash as much as anyone. I accept trash talk as much as anyone. Talk trash about any of my plays, about any of my bets. Keep it sports related though. Like I never get personal with people, and I encourage all the trash talk. I've always been nice to him. Yeah, I mean, I did block him on Twitter and he didn't like that. That was like 6 months ago. But it was just because I didn't want to hear all the nonsense. I'm about good fun. I'm about good mojo.
Yeah.
If you don't want to have that, then don't watch. Don't be involved. But we won't get personal. We'll keep it fantasy, sports related, gambling related. That's what we do. We're going to have a good time.
Indeed. Yes, that's what we're all about, and that's what we're all about at Run Pure Sports. We're all about that workbench play of the day, which has been an absolute fire. Hit again last night. We have that promo code Workbench21 for 25% off your first payment at Run Pure Sports. After us, premium show, JSU Holden taking you up to lock, breaking down all the news. And a slate like today, I have a feeling we're going to need it because, man, there is probably more to come. That's just how these slates are going. You have to be, on your computer all the way up to lock, breaking this stuff down. It's wild. Workbench 21, 25% off your first payment at Run Pure Sports. All right, let's hop into the first game of the slate. The Mavericks, the Hornets, 220.5 total. Mavericks favored by 4. And I guess the big thing here is the Mavericks are going to be without some of their guys. I know Powell's out. There's a few more. I think Finney-Smith is out, so they're going to be down some bodies tonight. And I think that provides an opportunity for a guy like Willie Cauley-Stein, who would have been popular prior to all this news. James Johnson, he'll be in line for some big minutes. Would have been very popular before all this news in the Nets. I think a lot of the ownership on these guys, these value dudes here, ends up shifting to some of the Nets guys that we'll talk about a little bit later in the slate. Then on the Hornets side, I mean, I'm going to maintain my same position that I've had for a while. Like, not really going to play anyone. LaMelo Ball, I think, is good for tournaments basically every single night. I mean, he now has massive upside. His minutes are only going to continue to increase. So I think he is a really good tournament play. Slate in, slate out. I'm not going to play anyone else on the Hornet side unless there's some sort of injury. So for me, it's pretty simple. I'm going to take a look at some of these Mavs guys, these cheaper dudes, LaMelo Ball in tournaments. And then obviously Luka, we're going to have money to pay out for studs. We're going to have money to pay out for probably a couple studs. And with all these dudes out, he just seems like a very safe option tonight. And Title, I'm going to go to you first. You haven't spoken in a while, so I'm going to toss it over your way.
Yeah, so I agree with pretty much everything that you said. The Dallas value was one of the better value we had until all this Nets news. So they're going to come in a lot lower owned than what they were projected to. So I'm fine with James Johnson, fine with Willie Cauley-Stein. These prices are better on DraftKings, except James Johnson on FanDuel. He's power forward eligible, only 4,200. So he makes some sense. Luka, because we'll have all the money, like you said. Just take the raw points. We're going to need to with some of the spend ups. Obviously, Durant's the best spend up on the slate, but it could be stars and scrubs like it was yesterday, and Luka's a star on this slate. So that could make some sense. The only Hornets player I have interest in, LaMelo Ball. I mean, this guy's just a good basketball player, does everything on the court, rebounds, gets assists, triple-double watch most nights. So definitely have some interest in him, but everyone else is pretty much priced right. The only other guy I might have some interest in tournaments, but I want to ask Big T, the Boban Whisper. They're short in the front court. Is this a matchup where he gets any minutes? Because, I mean, he would crush if he does.
Yeah, Big T is the Boban Whisperer. We're going to go to him next. Break down this game, the value plays, any Luka for you. Been off Luka for the most part. I think for the most part this season. So kind of talk about Luka, the value plays, and then your boy Ball as well.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have some interest in Luka just on with that much value. I mean, again, yesterday we talked on that show. I said it's just so easy. You play these values, you play Durant and Jokic, and you go collect your money. You might not win first, but you're going to win money. It's exactly what happened. Today's slate's probably going to end up similar, where all this value opens up. It lets you play the studs. Just it ends up working that way. It's tough not to do that. As far as Boban, I don't think it's definitely not. I like playing Boban when they need him to play center. Charlotte doesn't have big dudes. I mean, if he comes out and they announce him as the starter, I think you could play him, and it's the early game, so we'll definitely know. But if he's not starting, you definitely can't play Boban, I don't think. If he is starting, I still don't think I love him. I mean, he is 3K on DraftKings, so it's going to be tough not to play him if he's starting. But this definitely on the surface isn't a Boban spot for me. I mean, there's just no bigs. I don't see why they would start him, honestly, because he's not going to be able to guard anybody.
I just think saving minutes in the front court from James Johnson, Willie Cauley-Stein have played more than they have in the past. Powell's out. Bismack's a little bigger guy, so he got a minute last game. He got more the game before, so I didn't know if it was kind of staggering. Some games he takes some minutes off them. I have no clue. You know him more than I do.
I mean, I could see him playing 6 minutes a half type thing where he gets some filler minutes, 12 minutes or something. But unless he's starting, man, I don't see how you could play him tonight. I don't know. And LaMelo's freaking good. We've been on him all season. The thing is, though, his price is now to the point, 72, 7,400, both sites. I mean, he's not playing a crazy amount of minutes, 31, 29, 25, 23, 30. I mean, he's really never getting more than 30 minutes for the most part. I feel like the price is a little too high for a matchup against Dallas that they know how to guard the guard position decently. I mean, they're well coached. I don't know. With this being an early game, I'm definitely lower on this game than the field probably will be, especially the Charlotte side. I don't see a ton I like on that side. Dallas, Luka, but I'm not that high on James Johnson either. I don't know. I don't see it with Porzingis coming back. He's fine. Don't get me wrong. He's 3,900. He'll probably get you 18 fantasy points or something. I think it's okay, but like you don't have to force him in by any means with the value we got coming.
Yeah, you're going to see consolidated ownership tonight. I mean, a lot of people are going to be on the same plays. They're going to be forced into the same plays. You're going to be able to play pretty much whoever you want with all this value that we're going to talk about. I mean, it's in the Nets game. It's coming up in a couple here. So the next one is another one. I mean, it's not great from a DFS perspective. It's the Bucks, the Pistons, 227 total. Bucks favored by 10.5 in this game. The Pistons are just a difficult team for DFS. I mean, we're going to need a lot of injuries, I think. And even so, man, they just have so many dudes that they're just willing to roll out there, especially on this slate. I can't imagine clicking one Pistons name like in cash games or tournaments. So they are complete fade for me. On the Bucks side, I'm sure you can play Giannis. I mean, I'm sure, he'll have a big game here. The issue with Giannis, when choosing between him and other studs, it's like, man, the floor is just so much lower on him this season. I mean, they're literally willing to play him like 25 minutes in a game, and that's just not the case with any of the other studs. Like these other guys, even in blowouts, will play 30 minutes. Giannis, I mean, they're willing to pull the plug at 25, 26 minutes. That really, caps the upside for him in these blowout situations, which we might have tonight. So on this slate, I prefer the other guys. I mean, I definitely prefer Luka over him. I definitely prefer probably even like Lillard going later, Kawhi. Like I'd prefer all those guys, I think, over Giannis. Brook Lopez is 4.5K on FanDuel. I think he's in play there a little bit. Chris Middleton is 7.4K. I think he's in play a little bit on FanDuel. But overall, this is a game that I'll mostly be off, and I feel pretty good about it. Tony, I'm going to throw it to you first.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a super easy fade. You look at Detroit, the pricing doesn't look great for anybody. I mean, all these prices look heavy. Jeremy Grant has been really damn good, though. They were showing his numbers next to Christian Wood, and he's been better than Wood, which is surprising. Just as far as numbers and what he does, I made fun of the contract for sure, being a Nuggets guy watching him last year closely. But he's been really good, so I got to give him credit. And he's not in play for me at this price point, especially in this matchup. But just congrats to him for getting a little better because he does look good. This game, though, looks like a super, super easy fade. I mean, Milwaukee, you can always put Giannis in your player pool. Like, say just an absurd amount of value hits, and I can play just like yesterday, for example, if you played Jokic, Embiid, and Durant with all the cheap guys, it ended up probably treating you very, very good yesterday. So, I mean, maybe if you want to just go full out stars and total scrubs, you could play them, but I'm not forcing them in with all the studs on the slate. So, easy fade for me besides maybe a hair of Giannis.
All right, cool. Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. I mean, it's just not a game that I'm going to really be on all that much. Title, you are the Bucks guy and you're the Giannis guy. Can you even go here on the slate?
You can go to Giannis in tournaments just because, like you guys said, so much value on the slate. If everyone's going to go to Luka everyone's going to KD for sure. So depending if stars and scrubs, which I think will be more the popular build with all the Nets value, if everyone's going to go to Luka as the spend up number 2, just go to Giannis in tournaments because he's a $200 decrease. He has the same ceiling, and if the game stays close, I mean, he will absolutely smash the Pistons. They played 2 weeks ago, and Giannis had a career high in the first half, I think it was. Nobody can guard him on the Pistons. He can get any bucket he wants, so it really just depends on can they keep it close. if they keep it close, my favorite on DraftKings is Mason Plumlee, I think. 5,200 for a guy that is always active. I expect him, if they keep it close, to him to get some rebounds, score the ball and stuff. So those are the only two guys I can really make a case for on DraftKings. FanDuel, like you said, it's Brook Lopez, who feels too cheap at center, but with all this Nets value and stuff, it just doesn't really, you don't really need it today. On a normal slate, maybe, but today I just think it's getting too cute, except Giannis is a spend up.
Yep. No. All right, cool. All right. Make sure you guys hit that like, hit the subscribe button. I got about 350 watching right now. So let's get that up to 175 and we'll give away a piece of gear. So get to 175 on the likes and we'll pick somebody and they will win some Run Pure Sports swag. Also, we have our NFL content that'll be rolling out this weekend as well. We have the 4-game slate for DraftKings, the 2-game slate for FanDuel. We'll have all the slates covered with our typical content, the playbook, core plays, rankings, tiers, everything you need really to make winning lineups in DFS this weekend. So that will come out later in the week. You can use that promo code WORKBENCH21 for 25% off your first payment at Run Pure Sports. And finally, we're at the game that you've all been waiting for. The Nets, the Knicks, the total is 217. I haven't seen the updated line. Maybe Tony can get us that. If it's back on the board, I'm not sure or not. But, it was 3.5. I don't know if that's still the case. But, so no LeVert, no Jared Allen. I mean, they have 9 bodies. One is Reggie Perry, who I can't imagine will be playing all that much. Durant, I think, he will be the most popular guy in the slate by far, and rightfully so. Bruce Brown, Joe Harris, DeAndre Jordan, TLC, Shamet, all going to be popular. Chioza, I mean, they're going to have to play a lot of minutes. The ownership's going to be high. The one thing I do like, in regards to the situation is this is a boost for the Knicks guys as well, who will also play a ton of minutes in a close game. So it's easy, especially in tournaments, to kind of pick some of these guys to run it back with, whether it's Julius Randle, Alf, Barrett, Mitchell Robinson. You have a lot of options on the Knicks side too. So this kind of becomes one of the premier games on this slate. Tony, I'm going to go to you first. How are you handling the Nets situation with the potential high ownership? And then, what sort of interest level do you have in some of these Knicks guys?
Yeah, I mean, I hope the year keeps going where we get news, like this every day, because I mean, Hoop and I have talked about this from previous years. Like, I feel like the slates get easier when this happens, as long as you don't overcomplicate it. Like, play this slate. So yesterday, we had a few members that ship with the strategy. I said, you play 4 or 5 heat, you play the 2 studs, and you just go collect your money. So there was people getting congratulated on Twitter, and then other people just attacking them like, oh, you played all the chalk. Everyone had that. Everyone didn't freaking have that, though, because other people might have played the individual pieces, but they didn't jam 4 or 5 of them in with the studs in that exact combo. All of a sudden they had Malcolm Brogdon laid or whatever the random 1 or 2 plays are. 1 or 2 plays is a massive difference on a slate. It can cost you winning money. Like tonight, there's no way these guys aren't getting there outside of just crazy stuff happening. They're favored still. I mean, the spread right now is 4, it looks like.
They're still favored by 4.
I just don't know how you don't jam this game. It looks too easy. And I feel like, I think I've cashed like every NBA slate this year, so I'm on a good run, feeling good. It just looks too easy. You just play these guys, mix in some studs around it, and Durant being one of the studs, obviously. And no one, for some reason, whatever reason, Joe Harris is never that high owned. He's in the mid-range again today. He doesn't necessarily pop that hard in projections just because of that price. He's the second scorer now. Like, he's going to have a big game again. He's got a chance of getting in that workbench again later today, too.
Ooh, love that. When you look at his projection, it's been like that all season, where I always feel these sites for some reason are under projecting him. And now, even more so, I think they'll be under projecting him because, well, like you said, he's their number 2 scorer, and he's going to have a huge role tonight.
Yeah, he's just good. He fits good. He's good alongside Durant. He's going to be, he will catch a little more ownership tonight, but man, with all these cheap guys, I mean, everyone's going to want to play DeAndre. Everyone's going to want to play Bruce Brown. So all of a sudden, this is what I'm talking about, how people will be different, though. Like, they'll play Durant, DeAndre, Bruce Brown. People get scared to play one or two more pieces. I just think you can play five. I mean, in this spot, there is literally so much usage there for cheap. I think you could play six pieces. And again, I'm going to say the same thing I said yesterday. This is the positive to it. The negatives, you're probably not going to win first place in a tournament tonight doing this. That's just the facts. You're probably not going to ship a tournament, but you're probably going to profit if you do this. Yeah. So you got positives and negatives. It depends on what you want to do. If you want to get all the way to the top, it's the opposite of what we said on our showdown shows all year. If you don't want to hold hands, you don't want to profit, maybe play do something different. But and Hoop on the top part of what he said, we can definitely run some Knicks backs because they play minutes too. So all of a sudden you can play Julius Randle against a team that has zero bigs besides DeAndre Jordan. You can play Mitchell Robinson the same spot, Elf. I mean, all these guys are gonna play minutes. It's just it's a really, really hard spot to get off of.
Randall should just absolutely feast here. I mean, he should have his way. I really like him tonight. Title, what are you thinking here? Kind of, I mean, go through these Nets guys too, and kind of, tell us who your favorites are, and then anyone on the Knicks side that you have interest in.
Yeah, so my two favorites on both sides, I think, are DeAndre Jordan and Bruce Brown. The prices just aren't right. Bruce Brown's min price on FanDuel, $3,500. He's $3,300 on DraftKings. He makes plays out there. He's a good basketball player. He was out there yesterday making plays too. So that's just too cheap. He's probably going to draw the start. So he just seems like a lock. Kevin Durant, obviously the top spend up on the slate. Don't need to go in that too much. But then you got the other guys. You got TLC, who's $3,500. Jeff Green, who's $3,600. I think Big T's right on DraftKings. Joe Harris is going to be the forgotten net. When I say forgotten, I mean maybe 30% or 35%, but compared to 55 to 80%, that's forgotten on the slate. And you just can't jam them all in. I don't know if Joe Harris is going to start or come off the bench, but you almost want him to come off the bench if you're playing him, get more usage without Durant. He'll be lower owned that way.
They're going to have a hard ass time bringing him off the bench tonight for the record. They might do it. Yeah. But it's not the same team they've been bringing him off the bench with.
Yeah, it's either TLC, him, or Jeff Green. It really depends. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest, but even if he does
bring him off the bench, just because then no one's going to use him, and he is just a really good play. FanDuel, he's 4,900.
Yeah, I was going to say FanDuel, he's going to be a lot more popular because he's small forward eligible. 4,900.
So is everyone just going to play the four of them on FanDuel and just be done with it? So everyone else is going to be low owned on Brooklyn?
Probably. I haven't ran teams yet or done anything yet, but I think there's going to be four Nets for sure. And it seems like with Joe Harris being the one small forward, Jordan center eligible, Bruce Brown shooting guard eligible, just seems like that makes sense. But like I said, and you still got to look for more news. Obviously, NBA news changes every minute we get off the show and stuff's changing. So what's chalk now cannot be chalk in an hour. So that's always something to pay attention with NBA. As far as the run back for the Knicks, Julius Randle's price is better on DraftKings, 9,100. FanDuel is a little more expensive. He's 9,100, but with the salary and stuff, I like him more on DraftKings more. And Mitchell Robinson and Alfred Payton on FanDuel, I like more running it back. Alfred Payton's still 5,700. Feels a little too cheap for his role. If they get in a close game and Alfred Payton's getting hot and it's not quickly, and he closes the game in the fourth quarter, his 35 plus minutes for 5,700 is just way too cheap. This game's going to be a lot of fun. Starters are going to play a lot, and it's definitely the most popular DFS game of the slate.
Yeah, it's not even going to be particularly close. I mean, the ownership in this game is going to lap any game by quite a bit. I mean, I think the last game will be somewhat popular, but there's just a lot of games that just not very interesting from a DFS perspective, like that Bucks Pistons that we talked about. The next couple, I just don't think they're super interesting from a DFS perspective. We'll talk about the next one, like the Grizzlies, Timberwolves, and Karl Anthony Towns is expected to play. That's kind of a downgrade to everyone else from a fantasy perspective. Don't necessarily think he's in play. On the Memphis side, I don't know. I don't love the prices on anyone. I guess like Kyle Anderson is 5.4K on FanDuel. But man, we have so many good plays now. We have Durant there. We have Joe Harris there. I think Josh Hart's a good play. I'm just having a hard time going to basically anyone in this game. Like I just don't see it. I'm not a D'Angelo Russell guy. I think he's pretty overrated. Kind of checks in and checks out whenever he wants. I can't see myself clicking any names here. I'm going to go to you first, Title. Is there anything I'm kind of missing?
Brandon Clark's the only guy I could make a case for in tournaments just because we've seen his ceiling. No one's going to play him. Getting in the mid-tier build, the mid-range build will be very, very contrarian today with everyone going the Durant and all the cheap nets. So if you want to go mid-tier with guys that have a ceiling, Brandon Clark has a ceiling, and we've seen it. So only guy I can make a case for, but this game's not very good.
Yeah, and Brandon Clark, the price tag is I think it's better on FanDuel. Yeah, it's a better FanDuel play than DraftKings play. Big T, you got anything here?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on Brandon Clark a little bit lately. Definitely like that play. It's tough to get to him on this slate, especially if you play Joe Harris in that mid-range. But, yeah, I mean, he's definitely in play. Joe Val, I think, is definitely in play as well for tournaments. I mean, again, I'm just putting some of these guys in the player pool just because that's how I build with the optimizer, where I'm going to put a bunch of these guys in there and project them like Joe Val. I'll project them for like 36 or something, right in that range. Put Brandon Clark in the low 30s. And then when you get done kind of getting your player pool condensed, put them with all that value and just see if any of them hit. Sometimes you're surprised, like, oh, this is why I think even if you're playing one team, you should learn how to use an optimizer, because sometimes you're surprised. Like all of a sudden, Brandon Clark and Joe Val hit the optimal somehow, and you're just like, oh man, they would be in the winning team if they only got 35 and 30, and it like surprises you. And you would have if you're hand building, you would never have seen that. And that's kind of one of the holes I think I've plugged over the last 6 months or so, counting the end of the bubble and into right now. I just think you really need to use an optimizer, and you don't have to go with the optimal by any means, but it just opens your eyes as to what you need by doing that. And then I'm going to leave Cat in the player pool too, just because he's in that same bucket as those studs where I could see him getting in the 50s. And if he gets in the 50s, he definitely at least has a chance to be in the winner, and he's going to be crazy low owned. So again, tournament play, not in love with it. He definitely won't be on my main team, but I could make a case for him. Just the same bucket as a guy like Giannis. Like if he goes off, I at least want to have a little bit of him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree with the Valanciunas call. The price tag's pretty good on FanDuel. He's 6'9", on DK is also 6'9". So I think he's definitely interesting. He's clearly a guy that has tournament winning upside. You know, DeAndre Jordan's going to be very popular at center now. If DeAndre Jordan comes out and busts, which not very likely, but let's say he goes out and just gets you 21, his ownership's going to be through the roof. You're going to need another center. So Valanciunas is clearly a guy that has, you know, the 50 fantasy point upside that could win you a tournament. So I think in tournaments that play makes a lot of sense for sure. Next game, we have the Lakers. We have the Thunder. Totals 218. Lakers favored by 8. And man, the Lakers are just going to continue to be a frustrating DFS team. First off, when they're healthy, they have so many guys that it's tough to play them, but they keep labeling these guys as questionable. And LeBron already came out and said he's playing tonight, but Anthony Davis sounds like it is actually more questionable. Did something with his toe, I believe, in the game last night. So he is questionable. If he were to miss, big boost to a guy like Kyle Kuzma. I think Dennis Schroeder would get a big boost. This game is at 8 p.m. Eastern, so an hour after lock. There's a chance by lock we have this news. On the Thunder side, no Al Horford. Big boost for Isaiah Roby. He is 3.1K on DK, and he had a monster game last time he started. He should slide into the starting lineup here, 3.1K. He'll be popular. I mean, I think the Nets news brings down his ownership a little bit, but this guy has some upside. So I think he's definitely a strong play on FanDuel. He is power forward eligible and 4.1K. So definitely a better DraftKings play opposed to FanDuel play. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, Roby's a strong play. Kind of need to wait on Anthony Davis. If he's out, some of these guys are in play. If he's in, I have no interest in the Lakers. So let's go to you first, Tony. What do you got here in this game?
Yeah, we need to wait on the news. I mean, I've kind of said it the whole time that LeBron and AD just aren't really in play for me. I'd rather play all the studs on this slate. Even if AD's out, I'm still not going to go to LeBron, I don't think. You can do what I just said with the optimizer where you just give him like 49 fantasy points or 50 fantasy points where I just don't think he has a ceiling in these spots. So if 50 gets you to the winner, then maybe you can play him. If 50 doesn't get you to the winner, which it probably won't at this price, then you're probably not going to play him. So I don't see it. If AD is out, though, I mean, you got Schroeder, who obviously has some history with OKC, and Montrezl Harrell, I think, is a super sneaky play if AD is out. The last time he was out, I think he went for 37 or something that night. So nothing like huge. But this is a really, really good matchup, like off the charts good matchup for Trez. If AD sits, he could like totally break this slate, I think. They have no bigs. Isaiah Roby, they just don't have bigs. I think Trez could go off if AD sits. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. Not going to play anyone if AD's in there. And then the OKC side, yeah, Roby's fine, but I'm not playing Roby over the Nets value. I'm just not doing it. So, I mean, we had him at 2% that night, the first night he started. I just don't – the spot isn't as good tonight. The Lakers are a good defense. I just don't see it. So, I'm going to play the Nets value over him. No matter – obviously, if AD's out, the matchup gets a lot better for Roby. Maybe you play him with Trez, but I'd rather play the Nets value. So, this is kind of where I think don't overcomplicate it. Play the Nets value, let other people play Roby. And you know what? If Roby beats me, he beats me. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and it's a tough spot for him regardless, like you said. And the one thing I did want to add on about some of these guys you're talking about, Harrell and Valanciunas, they're at a price tag where, that range could kind of go ignored. I mean, people are going to go stars and scrubs tonight. They're going to plug in all those Nets guys, and they're going to go with the big name top tier guys. So dudes in this range, this 5, mid 5, 6, upper 6 range, their ownership, I think, comes in pretty low because of the nature of the slate and people just going to stars and scrubs build. Go to your title. What do you have here in this Lakers Thunder game?
Yeah, Roby stands out as the best play, better on DraftKings than FanDuel. He's 3,100. It's only 100 more than Min. Last time he got the start, he looked good. I mean, he definitely has some skills. He can maneuver, he can rebound, he can score. Definitely a big boost if AD's out because AD protects the paint so well. But even if he's in, I think Roby's fine. Just betting on the talent, betting on the price. Al Horford's out, so it makes sense for sure. His ownership's going to take a hit, which makes even more sense in tournaments because I think people are going to want to go the Nets side, feel more comfortable with only 8 players pretty much. So Roby stands out pretty much it. If you need SGA as a last piece, I'm fine with it because he's in that mid-tier 7,700 on DraftKings. And if you land there, I'm fine with it. Otherwise, I'd rather find the Durant. I think it's more of a stars and scrubs build today. So Roby or nothing.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's it's hard to take a look for me. I mean, on DK, you can make the case for SGA. On FanDuel, he's up in the upper 8 range, and that's just not a spot you want to go, I don't think. All right, before we move on to the next game, hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're still a little bit short of the number we need to give away a piece of gear, trying to get up to 175. So hit the like, hit the subscribe so we can continue to bring you these shows for free. I want to talk about our partnership that we have with Monkey Knife Fight. Go to Monkey Knife Fight, promo code RunPureSports at checkout. $50 match on your deposit of up to $50. In addition to that, we have a Discord channel fully devoted and dedicated to Monkey Knife Fight picks and plays. People in there chatting, posting plays all day long, members and coordinators as well. So head on over to Monkey Knife Fight, use that promo code RunPure at checkout for $50 match on your deposit. All right. making good time today. We've got 2 games left, 2, I think, very appealing games from a DFS perspective. They're the only 2 games, only 2 late games, 10 p.m. Eastern. It's the Pelicans and the Clippers is the first one, 216 total. Clippers favored by 8.5. And the important news in this game is on the Pelicans side. Lonzo Ball out, Zion out. 2 big names out tonight for the Pelicans. Big group of guys that will get the boost. Eric Bledsoe, big boost. He's also questionable though. So this is the only piece of news I think at the end that we kind of need, because if he's in, he's a really strong play. If he's out, I mean, this is almost close to the Nets situation where you have some guys that are in really good spots. Alexander Walker would be a great play at 3.1K. He's a great play as is, but if Bledsoe misses too, even better play. Ingram gets a big boost with Zion and Lonzo Ball out. I think he's a really strong play. Melly should start. He's 3K. Josh Hart, I think, is a really good play. JJ Redick, man, he's 3.3K. Finally had a decent game last time out. If all these guys, well, I mean, we already have 2 out, and if Bledsoe's out as well, big boost for him as well. So let me kind of go back, and if Bledsoe's in, I think these guys are still good plays. If he's out, then we're talking like almost a Nets situation where these value plays I think are really good. On the Clippers side, kind of full health, and I'd only be playing with price points here like Kawhi Leonard. He's 9.2K on FanDuel. I think that's a good price tag. Man, that's probably about it on the Clippers side. So for me, it's going to be a lot of Pelicans. I like Bledsoe if he's in. If he's out, these other guys get a pretty big boost. Let's go to you first, Title. What are you seeing in this game?
Yeah, so this is tricky because we have the Nets news that locks early, and then we have the unknown. Well, we have the known Zion news, which is already a big bump, but I don't know if it's as big as the Nets yet. But if Bledsoe's out, it's in that same category. Alexander Walker, Nickeil Alexander Walker on DraftKings, only 3.1K. That's just way too cheap for someone that's going to have the ball in their hand a ton. If Bledsoe's out, he's an absolute smash play. Even without, he's good. JJ Redick, like you said, only 3.3K. And then Bledsoe on both sides, if he gets ruled in, 5.3 on FanDuel, which I like more. 5.8K on DraftKings is still good, though. He's going to have the ball in his hand a ton and operating a lot as well. So if he's playing, he becomes a great play. If he's out, the other guys become even better. Brandon Ingram on both sides. He's a better play on DraftKings, where he's 8.5K. FanDuel, he's 8.8K at the small forward position. So that makes it difficult too. I think he makes for a really good tournament play over there though, because he's going to be overlooked. And without Zion, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if someone said Brandon Ingram was the highest scorer on the slate. He definitely is that good at basketball. So I think it makes a lot of sense in tournaments. Josh Hart's the last one too, 5.4K on DraftKings. He's only 4.4K on FanDuel at that loaded small forward position too. It's all about the news though, because these guys that become good plays to elite plays like the Nets plays if Bledsoe's out for sure. So you either backload your lineup or you're playing the Nets, and then you won't be playing these guys. It's a big decision on the slate, I think.
Yeah, it really is, because I mean these Nets guys they go off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. This game is a 10 p.m. Eastern game. And man, if Bledsoe's out, I think these guys are in just as good as a spot. Tony, what are you thinking here with the Pelicans? How are you going to play this news? Any chance you kind of backload it all? And then any interest in the Clipper side of things?
So I hate jinxing myself, but I keep saying this on the show. Everything just looks clear to me right now in the NBA, and I just think this is a terrible spot. I hope people backload for this. The Clippers are a tough team. I don't like Ingram no matter what. I'm not going to spend salary on a spot that I think is very, very tough against these Clippers defenders. They got good defenders all the way around. I would love Alexander Walker if we knew Bledsoe was out. 100% I would love him because he's cheap. You don't have to use salary. I like that a ton. I mean, I'm not playing – there's no way I'm playing J.J. Redick. I mean, Josh Hart, 5,400. One guy that I think you could play either way is Steven Adams, 6,500. I think he's solid, but I don't need it. Like, I think he gets you 30. I don't think it's by any means anything you need. I just think it's a tough game for these guys. I'd rather have the Nets. I know everyone's going to compare the spots. The Nets are freaking favored. The Nets are in a really good spot. New Orleans.
That is a really underrated point. Not to cut you off, but that is a very strong point that a lot of people will potentially overlook, and it's one even when I'm talking about it that I really didn't think about. You're talking about a team that is favored in the Nets, and in the Pelicans, they're going up against a somewhat defensive minded team on the road as 8-point underdogs. So I think that's a very good and underrated point. But continue on.
Yeah, I mean, these slates just feel simple. I know this is what happens every time in these spots. People get scared to lock in too many Brooklyn people. Just take the freebie. The best thing I can say is what I said earlier. You might not win a tournament because who knows? Nickel Alexander Walker, however you pronounce it. No. Maybe Bledsoe sits and maybe he gets 40. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't. The value doesn't open up and you don't get that opportunity. The Nets are already off the board. Just take the freebies. And it just seems simple to me. Obviously, one of these days I'm going to be dead wrong and I'm going to just get punished for it. But it's been a good run. I'm going to keep going with it when it looks easy. I think this is a super easy fade. Yeah, if Bledsoe sits, a lot more value open. I still would never play Ingram. It's just a really tough spot on this slate, I think. Tough matchup. The cheap guys, I'm never playing Bledsoe either. I think Bledsoe sucks. There's no way I would play him at 58. But the cheap guys
even with all those guys out, I mean, on FanDuel, he's like 5.3K.
They're just the plays I stay away from, though. Like, I just don't play chalky Bledsoe who pops in. This is why I love all the optimizers. I can pull up all the different sites. I see Bledsoe pop, and I just never consider him. I know the chalky people will play him, and I'm good with it. I'm good with taking my chances that I have a different build, and I'll just take my chances that I can beat Bledsoe. I just don't think he's any good. And guys like drawing a blank, but what's the little Pat Bev, just freaking good defender, tough guy. I don't know. Like, yeah, he's fine. I get it. I get why the optimizers pop him. I get it. He's cheap. He's going to be in there, higher usage. Believe me, I understand completely why he's in there. I just don't want to play him over guys I know for sure, the cheap values from the Nets and the studs. So just a different build for me.
Yeah, no, I like that approach. You got to take your stands. And I do think most people will just lock in the Nets guys. So I don't think it's going to be contrarian to play the Nets and then be a little underweight on these Pelicans guys. I don't think that will be the case, but
I think the sharper people will do it too. Like, I think people like Hoop and Title will do it and just lock it in and go with it. But a lot of people will play 3 and think that's like the number they can't go higher. I think by going 5, and I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but even 6, like in cast type format, you just lock in a massive floor. Yeah, if it blows out, somehow the Knicks blow them out, you're going to lose for sure. But I think that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, they're favored. 110 is their team total. I mean, has this Reggie Perry guy played at all for the Nets? Like, has he got any time on the court? Do you guys know that?
I don't think he has. I don't know for sure though. But...
Pulling him up right here. Let's see.
He played 7 minutes a few games.
Yeah, I mean that was probably a blowout situation. They just tossed him in there.
He had 11 fantasy points in 7 minutes.
Hang on. Do we need to circle back? Do we need to circle back?
I will say, so I'll say this about it. In tournaments, if you pivot off of even one, like if you play Reggie Perry over DeAndre Jordan and DeAndre Jordan gets in foul trouble and Perry outscores him, there you are. You're ahead of all those chalky teams. I'm not saying to do it because DeAndre is clearly a better play. But there's definitely paths where Perry outscores DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, more obviously tournament play is not going to take very low number percentage points to get over the field on Reggie Perry tonight. But interesting conversation nonetheless. Last game of the slate is a banger, man. We got the Trailblazers. We got the Kings, 236 total. Portland favored by 3.5. And some news I guess we're kind of waiting on here too is Nurkic is questionable. And if he were to sit, have to imagine Enes Kanter kind of slides into that starting role. And he, we've talked about on the show quite a bit. He's simply just been better than Nurkic. And I think he would be another interesting play. I think Dame Lillard's in a really good spot. And then on the Kings side, Darren Fox, after a few games of playing limited minutes, kind of bounced back, and I think he played like 38 last time out. He's too cheap on both sides. 7.3 on FanDuel, 7.4 on DK. Way too cheap. Buddy Hield on FanDuel, I think, is right at 5K. They haven't bumped him up at all. He's been terrible. I mean, he hasn't been great, but man, like if his shot gets going, like he can put up fantasy points in a hurry. I think Bagley's in play. Holmes is in play. I think there's a lot of solid plays here to kind of round out your lineup. And if you are kind of building your lineups, banking on some of this Pelicans news, and it doesn't go our way, you can fall back on this game. I mean, it's the biggest total on the slate by quite a big margin. I mean, we're talking, 15, 16 points higher than the next closest game. So, I mean, if you're going to fall back on a game and be forced to play some dudes, like this is a good one to go to. So I really like this game. I don't know what sort of ownership we'll see. I see, a lot of ownership in on the Nets. I think Luke is going to be high on. Maybe this game comes in a little bit lower on. People always too like locking in their guys. If they know a guy's in a good spot early, they like just locking him in, and they kind of, these later games, I feel always go a little bit lower owned. So I think this is a really interesting spot to kind of lock in some guys. I'm not saying fade the Nets for this situation. I'm saying play some Nets, but play some of these dudes too. I think in tournaments, it's a solid way to go. Title, go to you first. What are you thinking here in this Trailblazers Kings game?
Yeah, so this game is going to be way more under-owned than what it should be, and I think it's just going to be criminally under-owned. Yeah. Because of the Nets. And if we didn't get this Nets news, like this game was going to be popular, people were going to backload lineups, because if you save like 5 spots, and I know I'm higher on this Pelicans news and Pelicans today than Big T is, and maybe even you Hoop, but if you leave like 5 spots open, you play 4 Nets, even 5 or something, and then you just wait to see if Bledsoe's out. And Nurkic, I think that's big news too, because if Cantor gets the start, he's going to be very low owned because the center position already has DeAndre Jordan. Other people might lock in a center earlier too. And Cantor, when he gets his minutes, he just smashes. So I think that's very big news. I don't know. I don't have any read on Nurkic and if he's going to more likely to play, not play. I have no clue, but there's so much news in the last 2 games. And even if the news breaks the wrong way, it's still a 236.5 total with mispriced people. So I think this is a very good way to go in tournaments by leaving spots open after Nets. Darren Fox on both sides, too cheap. Damian Lillard or Lillard, if that makes him have a big game.
It's Lillard on this show.
Yeah, if Lillard makes him have a big game, it might be Lillard times, because he's going to be very low owned too as a pay up. So CJ McCollum is another one. He's 8.6 on DraftKings. No one's going to play him because everyone's just going to try and get Dame. But CJ McCollum is one of the best shooting guards in the league. Like this guy he's special to watch. He gets all his shots when he wants it too. So it's not like Dame and him are taking away from each other. They're just taking away from everyone else. So I like this game. I like backloading lineups and waiting for news. And I think it's going to be under-owned.
Yeah. All right, guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Apparently we have 2 streams going. That's why the numbers are a little bit funky today. But if we get up to that 175 mark, we'll give away gear. If you're watching on the other stream that only has,
what's the other stream?
The one stream has like 420. The other stream has like 120. If you're in the one watching, if you're in the 121, come on over to the one that has the 415 people for a chance at some gear. Okay. Well, correction here. We have one at like 417 and we have another at like 340. If you're part of
I was kind of wondering why the numbers were a little
low. Numbers are where they've been, but we got 2 streams going. So if you can try to. Okay, so we got about, our producer he's in my ear giving me the numbers. We got about 260 total. Let's just get 300 combined. It's only 40 more. We'll be nice just because of the
problem is we only got the name from the one. So if you're in the other one, you better get in the new one and give the like again.
Yeah, we want multiple. Yeah, actually, you know what? Let's cross like. So find both videos, hit the likes. If you can get us like 500, if you can get us 500 combined likes somehow, we'll give away a couple.
Maybe we should just open up a 3rd stream and see what we can get on that one.
All right, okay. Producer just came up with a good plan here. So what we're gonna do is If you guys just pound it, I don't even know the numbers. Just hit the freaking like. All right. We don't even need numbers. We're giving away 2 pieces of gear. As long as the producer is one from each stream, as long as the producer approves the numbers. So whatever our producer Simon wants to do in terms of numbers, if you get there, we're giving away gear to both streams. So just hit the like, and he's going to tell me if we hit the numbers that are approved by him. So just hit the like button and subscribe while you're at it. Make it easy. All right, Tony, I believe it's your turn to talk about this final game on the slate. Big total, like I talked about, a lot of good plays here. You kind of were a little bit hesitant about backloading here, but does this game change your mind at all?
I mean, I'm just flirting with disaster here because all year I've come on and I've been dead on these spots. I just don't like this game at all. It's a high total. Everyone feels appropriately priced to me. Dame's expensive. CJ's expensive. They have so many pieces. Cantor doesn't even remotely worry me, even if Nurkic is out. He never plays minutes. He's never going to play like 30 minutes or something. So what? He plays 24 minutes, gets 30 fantasy points. I can beat that. I'm not worried about that. They have so many pieces. If I was playing anyone, it would be McCollum for sure. He's been better than Dame. Sacramento has got destroyed by guards like CJ. It's one of the spots all season that I've been focusing on. Like, we always get these spots when we play every day where bigs against a certain team, guards against a certain team. No numbers backing it up with me, as always. It's just watching the games and seeing it. But this Sacramento team gets destroyed by guards like CJ McCollum. The problem for me is they got Dame, they got Trent, they got Melo who likes to shoot. They got other guys in the wing, that Rodney Hood and Derek Jones and Covington, and they play so many guys that I don't like the spot. Yeah, if some guys are out, maybe it boosts it up. I don't see it. The prices, I know Title liked it, but the prices don't look cheap to me. I don't see anyone that looks cheap
on FanDuel. The pieces are much
What's
better.
like so I'm looking at DK right now. So
on FanDuel, I mean, Fox is like 7-3. Damian Lillard.
I wasn't talking about Sacramento yet. Portland side.
Just the Portland side. Well, Damian Lillard's like 9-2. You got the rest, Title.
Covington's 4.8, so I mean power forward. That seems a little cheap
like
for
that
his
price.
minutes.
4.8.
Yeah.
Gary Trent's gonna be 2% owned.
Play Gary Trent.
He's gonna be 2%. He's stone minimum. So
he broke my heart like 2 weeks ago. He's on my list for a while where he's not getting on my team for a minute.
The thing is, though, at least he's not Okoro status. Like, the guy actually shoots and does something when he gets hot occasionally.
There's just too many people, though. Like, his path to crushing, I don't even know what he would have to do. Like, there's just not enough ball for these guys. If you got Dame, CJ, Melo on the court, like, there's no shots to go around.
Yeah. That's
fair.
I
mean, I'm more interested in the primary dudes in this game.
Yeah.
This is the last 2 games. He's played 30 minutes both games, 14 fantasy points. Like, he can't play more minutes than that. Like,
well, there's enough value on the slate where you don't need to.
You don't even need to think about it.
But on a normal slate, I think he can still 5x that price tag and has upside to go more. But I agree today, that's probably too.
Yeah, and we talk about value on other slates where, hey, it's not necessarily what they do, it's what it gets you. No, tonight that's not the case. It's what the value does, because you can't if your value comes out and lays a goose egg, you're dead, because we have 12 to 15 value guys that go in tonight, and they're going to be, the odds of all of them busting are very, very low. There's going to be value guys that go massive, like Crane style, 37.5x or whatever it is. So you can't have those busts. Anything else in this game, boys?
I mean, so that was just the Portland side for me. The Sacramento side, how many times have we seen Sacramento be in a nut spot like this and just totally piss everyone off? Where, I mean, so you look at Darren Fox, who everyone's going to want to play, like 43, 14, 32, 4, 41, 36. I mean, he hasn't shown upside at all, even on this price point. I just don't see it. Like, I know that these plays look good, but I'm not going to have any of these late guys. So I'm going to take my chances again with the early team. I'm going to lock in my points, and I'm going to say, come get me, Title. Come get me. Come chase me down.
Oh, I'll be. This is a Dame Lillard game, or this is his night. That it just seems. I know I'm getting my play a little early, but I think he can break the absolute slate in the Nuts matchup. It's the Lillard day. I know JT likes it too, so that I'm interested to hear your guy, but I don't know. Titletown might be catching Big T's name.
I guess you're locking in the Eiffel Tower play. You're gonna your Eiffel Tower play.
Eiffel Tower with Dame Lillard.
Back to back Eiffel Tower. I mean, that takes some energy, boys. Eiffel Tower alone. I mean, that's all right. Well, we're almost at that point in the show. Hit the like. As I said, we're gonna give away 2 pieces of gear to close it out. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. It goes a long way in helping us continue to bring you guys these shows for free. We have JSU Holden taking you up to lock. That is a premium show. Very important on a slate like today. I mean, we've got a lot of news in, and we could potentially get more. I mean, that's just the way the NBA is going to be this season. And if you're following the news, you can definitely find an edge. And that premium show, JSU and Holden. JSU is one of the best in the business at breaking down that late news. Doesn't get rattled, just even keeled, just breaks it down. Very professional. So check that out, part of the premium. The promo code we have going right now, Workbench21 for 25% off your first payment at Run Peter Sports. All right, Titletown, you kind of touched on, you kind of pulled at a heartstring there, and you mentioned Dame Lillard. So we're going to go to you for the Eiffel Tower play of the day, the multiple partner Eiffel Tower play of the day.
Yeah, I love this spot, the late night hammer.
I like Visine play of the day. That's title's name, the Visine play of the day.
Hey, when he ships me all the money, hey, it's gonna be nice. I expect him to get overlooked. I think people are going all the way stars, all the way scrubs. I think he gets overlooked, backload in your lineup so you get other pieces you can get. And one of these pace-up matchups, I mean, this is the game. He's chucking from the logo, and he's not missing. So Dame Lillard's going to be up there passing Big T's name when he's got no action at the late games, that's for sure.
Let's go, Dame Lillard, the Eiffel Tower play of the day. All right, who was it yesterday? Tyler Hero, correct?
Yeah, and I was embarrassed, so I gave out PJ Dozier on FanDuel. He didn't quite get it done, but I did talk a lot of shit in chat about him outscoring the shitty white dude McDermott, and he did. So, I mean, it was what it was. The play was Hero. I got embarrassed because he was too high owned. I hate doing that, but it was what it was. And all chat, right. Again, we got to talk about this. Every day I say this. Chat, stop freaking out in the first half of games. Just stop. Make it a better place. Make chat great again. These guys were full panic, saying it was a dry workbench and all these. He was at 18 in the third quarter. Okay, so even to say he got 7 or 8 in the fourth and got 26, 27, your night is not over, people. Like, calm yourselves. Calm down until it's over. He ended up with a 50-piece like usual. Extremely wet workbench, glazed donuts. I mean, just calm yourselves. Calm down till the play busts. But, yeah, Hero last night in all the winners. Another workbench crush. Chat, Chris Austin in chat, Discord was brutal. That's true. I say it all day. If you live in the chat between, say you wake up in the morning, you get on for a few hours, go get some lunch, and then in the afternoon, you're in Discord from like 2 till lock, you're in great shape. But then what you do, go get some dinner, get a beverage, make sure the news isn't hitting, but you don't need to be in Discord. Then circle back about midnight when all the screenshots start coming in and the workbench is wet, everyone's excited, Dame Lillard is busting for title. Circle back with all the screenshots, and then it's a circle jerk again, and everyone's happy again. So that's the process of Discord. You don't want to be in there between like 7 and at least like 10:30, 11 p.m. It's miserable in there during that time. So definitely don't be in there during that.
Yeah, it's tough. All right. Well, it is now time for the Wednesday night edition of the Workbench play of the day. Who do you got for us tonight, Big T, to get us to the top of those GPPs? We don't want the min cash. We want to get to the top, win the big cheese, the big giblets. Who do you got for us, the Workbench play of the day?
It's tough again today. It's a lot like yesterday where I was a little embarrassed because I think the path to winning money tonight is very, very, very easy. 4 or 5 nets, maybe a Knicks guy in there with it, 2 studs. Go collect your money, move on till tomorrow. It might not get us to first place tonight. I can't guarantee that tonight. I just think this is the path. We take our money. We got more money than we did to start the slate. That's a good thing. A lot of contenders today. I mean, the chalky plays, the extremely ones like DeAndre Jordan, Bruce Brown. I mean, even like TLC was in consideration. I got to go back to the workbench, though. Joe Harris, the number 2 scorer on this team. He's gonna end up lower owned than people think. He's gonna be high owned. I'm not saying I wish he was a little lower owned, but they keep giving us all this value. I got to ride out the streak. I'm not gonna force it. I'm not gonna say Chris Chiozza or something and really force it. I'm gonna give a rock solid workbench play. He might on DK. He could end up a little lower owned than people think too. He's gonna get us in the 40s. Yesterday I said Hero would get us 50. He did. Today, Harris will get us in the 40s for 5.5K, 4.9K on FanDuel. Take our 40 and move on.
Yeah, when you look at the ownership for those Nets guys, I think he comes in lower than the other main guys. And like you said, when we talked about that game, I mean, he's their number 2 guy. I mean, he's their second best chance of scoring the basketball behind Kevin Durant. So I do really like that. All right, hit that like, hit the subscribe. We got 2 winners tonight. All right, 2 winners from the chat. The first winner is on the chat with 300. There's like 315 people watching. Pinche Baracho, I believe is how you pronounce it. Pinche Baracho. You know who it is. If I apologize if I slaughtered that. But he said Mangone's pick should be known as the Chubb Killer. I thought that was just straight to the point, and I agree. It definitely should be called that. So reach out to Big T or info@Rumpier Sports, and we'll get you some gear. And then from the other chat, I don't know if this person's won or not. I know he's a regular here in the chat, but it's BirdDog87. He goes, double workbench for the double stream. I like that. 2 workbenches at once. Nothing wrong with that, right, boys?
I mean, I encourage it. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Having 2 benches, 2 different options. It's a good way to get things done for sure.
It's kind of like the baseball team, if you got to go to the bullpen, your pitcher's kind of slowing down a little bit. You got to go to the bullpen, bring in the replacement. You got that secondary workbench ready to get fired up right next to you. So I like that double work.
Mangone though, while you bring him up, he's texting me during the show, like all excited, like where should I send the head-to-heads at? Where who calls me out for head-to-head? I haven't played a cash game in like a decade. This dude just keeps calling me out about a freaking head-to-head. So I said, just play Mangone, both sides. Ship them both over, Mangone.
What are the stakes? What are the stakes? Let's lock this in.
I mean, whatever he wants to send over. Send them over, Mangone.
Head-to-heads, Mangone. I want to see. I'd love to see a big team.
Make sure you play Dame Lillard in your team, too, so I can freaking serve you, Mangone.
Well, that looks like I might need some Big T action now too.
The best part about this is I'm going to play Giannis and shove him right up freaking Title's ass is what I'm going to do. Woo! Right up the ass, Title.
Hey, I don't think we can leave this show though without giving Big T cannot just be tweeting like he did this morning. Jared Goff over Aaron Rodgers and Baker Mayfield beating Patrick Mahomes. Beating Patrick Mahomes.
I mean. Bad takes by Big T. He is on a heater though. He did say that you don't mess with Big T. You don't mess with Big T when he's on a heater. I do agree with that, but man, like I said, you better get your money's worth before Sunday because those plays aren't looking juicy.
I mean, all 4 favorites are going to win according to these 2 chalk freaking donkeys.
No, but I mean, sometimes you just, like you said today, you take your money, you take your free money, the Nets. Sometimes you're taking 2-3 times. You don't need to win it all. You don't just take your profit. Don't fade Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. Just take your profit.
I feel very good about both games too. Like very good.
Right when Big T tweeted it too, I looked at I made a teaser. I was like, Packers Chiefs, even more free money this week. Just like on the NBA.
You're
Hardwood,
teasing off 6s now. I mean, come on, Ty.
Oh, I'm teasing anything. Packers Chiefs, blow them out. Just like the court. Big T's betting on himself, betting on the underdog. You love to see it. What a day. Just had to add that part.
Love it. Speaking of the NFL, we'll have full NFL playoff breakdowns on our site, playbook, cores, tiers, everything you need. That'll come out later this week. We'll have our shows as well this weekend. Any rebuttal, Big T, before we get on out of here?
I mean, it's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing from Title. I can't wait to kick his ass. Every time I see his face, all I can picture is just owning him on the court.
Just like the Rams and the Browns will do this week. Same old story.
Yeah, well, we got the Joe Harris workbench play of the day. We have the Dame Lillard Eiffel Tower play of the day. That'll unite us to close the show. The Eiffel Tower play of the day and the Big T workbench play of the day. Good luck to everyone tonight in your contest. Stack up those giblets for Titletown, for Big T. I'm Hoop. We'll be back tomorrow night.